Aloha, everybody. Aloha, Charlie. How are you?
Happy Monday to you too, brother Mel. I'm doing fine.
Is it Monday? Yeah, it is Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
It's Monday, man. Man, time sure. Uh-oh. What is today? Ah,
Today's the
who's
31st.
who's funny? I had jammed this thing up. I had jammed this thing up. I get the wrong date on here. I tell you, how come?
But you
Everybody
know,
gonna be. I think I can fix them here. No, I cannot fix them there. I get August 29. People gonna be freaking out.
mhm.
Disregard the date. Disregard the date. I don't think I can change it. Something went wrong. Please try later. Okay, today, what is today? The 31st, yeah?
Yep,
Update. No, I don't think it'll change it, but.
But when you guys are on, I think.
Oh, well.
yeah, we
Anyway,
are.
yeah, we're
Yeah,
live. We're definitely live. Yeah, just a slight miscue there. So on the feed, it says August 29th, but it is the 31st, people. Sorry about that. How you doing, Charlie? How was your day today, bro? How was your day?
it was fantastic, fantastic. The missus and I went out for just a little stroll into town, and then came back and was just bombarded with a lot of phone calls. Bombarded with a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, messages, phone calls, everything going off the hook. Big lot of events today. The most. By the way, everybody, it's August 31st. Disregard the date on that thing. It's my bad. And tonight we have Sherry Menor-McNamara from the Chamber of Commerce, Hawaii. She's the president and CEO. She'll be coming on at 7 o'clock. So I know a lot of you asking. Anyway, yeah, what a busy day, man. Resignations from Bruce Anderson and Nolan Espinda. I think that was the big news today.
yep.
Um, I think it did. I think everybody was hoping for that, and then I think everybody was kind of surprised, and then everybody was upset that it took so long. So
Like I told everybody that there's a lot of things, and I understand because there's a lot of emotions. But folks, if it's just let it be, and main thing, we can move on. Hopefully, can move on. I know they mentioned a Dr. Libby Char, and I'm gonna say this right up front. Usually I don't say anything pertaining to anybody else that's replacing, but she's temporarily the head of the DOH. I've worked with her before when I was at the medical examiner's office for the city and county Honolulu. That person, number one, she's a doctor. Number two, she's very special, and she's a go getter. So the department will be pleasantly rewarded with her presence because she's a no nonsense person, and she'll get things done. She'll get things done.
well, it is what I'm calling the reset. It's an opportunity now to move forward, and
Yep.
it's kind of late in the game, but as they say, better late than never.
Yes.
Now we've identified all of the mistakes. Uh, some of us have been calling them out for a long time, and right now the governor has an opportunity to replace two directors with people that can make a difference. And we're hoping that he does that. Hopefully he'll do that because this is not getting any better, and I think we'll see a lot more problems with COVID in the
Mhm.
next few weeks. So now the 1,000 tests. It's actually 1,700, more than 1,700 tests that got screwed up.
Too bad.
And I mean, it's just never ending. And I think as far as credibility or integrity of trust and confidence from the people, it's just not there anymore. It's not. I mean, I don't think. I think the vast majority of people in Hawaii do not trust our leaders as we go through this pandemic. I just don't think they do. I haven't heard too many people that, in the beginning, there were a lot of people defending some of the actions or defending the people, and now they're kind of quiet, and it's because
Hmm.
you know, shame on you the first time, shame on me the second time, and now the governor has an opportunity to fix it, and he needs to fix it, and he
Well,
needs to restart. Remember a long time ago, Charlie, it was probably the second or third month, and I forget who was on our show, and I said the bigger problem at that time, COVID wasn't nowhere near where it is today, and I said, the problem, Governor Ige and the state, the bigger problem is not so much getting past COVID; it'll be restoring the faith and trust from the people, and that was when we weren't even having this much problem. So right now, that's going to be tough. It's going to be really really tough. But like you said, we all got to work together. We all got to band together. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Look forward and support these new people, whoever they may be, and let's go get this thing done.
well, some people I see comments already that I understand that they feel that they should have got terminated, and they shouldn't pay for the retirement. But the fact remains they're going to retire, and I can tell you right now, based on the conference with the governor, he was asked straight up if both Anderson and Espinda did not give their resignations, would you still keep them? And he said yes. So again, you take the lesser of two evils. They're going to retire. Let them go, and we need to get somebody in there to, like you said, gain the trust of the people, get it back on course, and start rocking and rolling. That's all. You know.
Well, I think the first thing that the governor has to do is let these people do their job. Find the qualified and competent people, and then let them stay out of their way and let them do the job.
Exactly.
Politics, no room for politics in this COVID, in this pandemic. So they need to get the politicians out of the way and let these people do their jobs. I'm talking about the health department, corrections, and it goes right to what you were saying as far as find someone with experience that's been in the trenches, that knows the ins and outs of those correctional facilities, so they know what's going on and what needs to be fixed. That's kind of where I think they need to go with this, and not just another crony, not just another political favor. No, it's finding the qualified and competent people, and then letting them do their job, giving them the tools and the resources, of course. What was shocking today is one of the media asked Governor Ige if he had lost confidence in them, and he said absolutely not. Wow, wow. Okay, to each his own, man. I respect your opinion. I disagree with it, but I respect it. I cannot
Yeah.
imagine how, as a boss, yeah. I mean that. I think that credibility and the confidence was lost a long time ago, and that's too bad. So tonight
Well,
gonna be interesting. We'll see. Again, we had Tina Yamaki from Retail Merchants, and tonight we have Sherry. She's from the Chamber. It's a larger group, obviously larger, bigger businesses, and beyond the retail merchants. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes tonight.
one last thing, I see comments about Sarah Park. Folks, she is taken. She remains as the epidemiologist. Let her do her epidemiology work. She does not have any business being in the front or running any programs at this time regarding contact tracing. They got someone in there already. So let the person do their job. And that person's on a hot seat now, and the person got to do what they got to do. So if we're gonna waste our energy on worrying about what happens to Sarah Park, we just gonna get frustrated. I want to look for that light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I want
I'm
to do.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised that he was able to find someone to step into that position in such a quick short time. I
Well,
really am. I mean, really, would you take that job right now? I know it's interim. I understand it's interim.
which one? Dr. Char, Libby Char.
Yeah, yeah,
If you know her persona, she is a problem solver. That's why I am not surprised she stepped up to the plate. That's the kind of people you need. You know, they and she's zero politics. She don't play politics. She just like go in there and do the job, and that's what we need. We need somebody that's just gonna go in there, do the job, and if at the end of the day you don't like her, she'll go away into the sunset, but she'll get the job done. You know, she'll get the job done. That's the key is somebody who will get the job done. And I'm excited. I want to see how she does it because there's you know people went in there to bake a cake and they ended up with plenty dough and flour all over the floor, and I will see how she going to clean that mess up and how she going to get it moving forward. And it's not an easy task, but if anybody can do it, she can.
yeah. I don't know her. I don't know her at all. So we just gotta wait and see.
Yep.
Um, Sherry just texted. She's coming on in a minute.
Okay.
Uh, we did get. I got confirmation that well, Wednesday we'll have
Les.
Les Condo,
Mhm.
and
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow we have Lieutenant Governor Josh Green. But
You
on the
know.
5th, on September 5th, we have Russell Izumo. I just got the confirmation he'll be coming on. He was Kauai's first COVID patient. He's going to talk to us about COVID. So if you know anybody who thinks this thing is fake, make sure they come on the 5th. That's a Saturday, next Saturday. All of those out there that think this is a fake and this, that the government is, have them watch, have them listen to. We heard from
Sarah.
one survivor, from Sarah,
Yeah.
and we're gonna hear from one right here, right from Kauai. Many of you, there she is. She cannot see us, but we can see her. But she can hear us. We cannot hear her, but can, so look how she smiles. Look, she gotta get serious when she come on here, kid. It's a serious topic right here. There, look at her face change. Look,
I
she
can't
can.
see, I cannot see her.
You cannot see her. Only I can see her.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we'll bring her on right now. Boom. There she is. Aloha.
Hello.
Aloha.
You look
See you.
nervous. You look nervous.
What?
You look nervous.
Oh, maybe I didn't have that glass of wine to get the edge off. I don't know.
You
I
can
heard
actually,
your show is so popular. I am nervous. It's live.
well, you can drink on the show now. You can drink, you can swear, you can do all of those things on this
What? If
show.
I had known.
How you doing, Sarah? How you doing?
Managing similar to
I
everyone else, right? So,
I saw you on the news the other day, and I just you were like frustrated, and you were. We'll talk about that a little later. I just wanted to. That's Uncle Charlie up on the screen.
Aloha. Welcome.
aloha.
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
And,
Nice to meet
and
Nice
you.
of
to
course,
meet
this is
you.
Sherry. Everybody knows Sherry Menor-McNamara, the president and CEO of Chamber of Commerce Hawaii. She's like the big dog, an amazing woman,
No.
and yeah, I mean, you like do a lot of stuff, and this is some trying times for business in Hawaii, and that's what we want to talk about tonight, getting your perspective and getting your suggestions. I will say there's a lot of people that watch this. There's a lot of leaders. The governor watches after we go off the air. He'll go on and watch the recording. Yeah, he does. So be nice and whatever. But again, unedited, unscripted, uncensored. This is what Mel and Charlie's all about. So why don't we start by sharing a little bit about yourself, Sherry, and then we'll take it from there. Okay?
Sure. Um, okay. Sherry Menor-McNamara. I am the president and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii. I've been with the chamber since 2006, but in my current position since 2013. So I've been in the chamber business for quite a while, but I am a Hilo girl. My mom still lives there. She still has a small business. So I can certainly appreciate embraced the neighbor island, and very proud to be from the neighbor island. So yeah, I moved away for 10 years, went to school on the mainland, moved back, and uh, went back to school. And during that time, I worked at the legislature, and that's when I realized I knew I wanted to do something in government affairs. And that's how I ended up at the chamber after graduating from from law school.
You're a lawyer?
I have never practiced.
Wow, I never knew that. I never knew that about you. So wow, awesome. Much better not being a lawyer anyway.
I
We
knew
don't
after
let too
the
many
first year
lawyers.
I
We
did
don't.
not want to practice.
Yeah, we don't let too many lawyers come on the show. Very few. Very few. Anyway, again, thanks for joining us, Sherry. It's been a pleasure knowing you and working with you over the years. So we kind of want to just go back in time,
Okay.
pre-COVID. What does the chamber do? And then take us down the journey from when COVID first started. When did you start seeing the issues for business, and then take us all the way up until where we're at today. We'll field some questions from the viewers. What is that? Is that me?
Oh, sorry. Well, I am not working for the office. I'm at home, so uh,
Oh, okay.
I'm
No,
in
no,
my
I
condo.
okay, yeah.
The
Somebody
hubby is
cooking.
not. He's just making pretend this thing is not going on.
Tell him I said hi.
I will.
Maybe one day we'll go
Mel said
back to Hawaii
I.
and then here we
No,
get.
Mel.
And if my dog barks, then I'm sorry.
Yeah, we get Dr. Miskovich. When Dr. Miskovich came on once, man, his dogs was going ballistic, and
Yeah.
it's all good though. Like I say, unscripted, uncensored, unedited,
Exactly.
perfect. So anyway, yeah, take us from pre-COVID, and then just get us to kind of where we're at. And like I said, as questions come up, we'll spring them in.
Sure, okay. So the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii is the state chamber, and we represent more than 2,000 plus members statewide. And those 2,000 members represent probably about 200,000 employees. It ranges from different industries, different size businesses. So pre-COVID, we did a lot of events like any chamber organization, such as Kauai Chamber. We are the liaison to the military through our Military Affairs Council. We do a lot of programming and workshops to help businesses thrive, as well as we have a young professionals program. And one of the main functions is business advocacy. So we are the voice of business. We are very active at the state legislature, as well on the city and county level. And we also work closely with our counterparts in the mainland on federal issues. But when COVID happened, similar to a lot of businesses, we had to pivot overnight. We could no longer do in-person events, obviously. So we had to determine what were the needs at that moment, because there was no playbook. Businesses did not have any type of heads up or any type of guidelines to follow. So it was a tremendous, rapid response mode and acting quickly and finding what the needs are. So we quickly did a number of webinars to support our business during that time. For example, how do they apply for the PPP loan? What are the requirements and necessities, as well as how can they survive this COVID period, and what happens in economic recovery period? So we had to literally pivot overnight from in-person events to all virtual. And then our entire team worked from home in March, and we're actually still working from home. There was a brief period that we did work in the office after we reopened the economy, at least the Kamaiana economy. But now we're back at home, obviously, especially when we saw triple-digit numbers, and then leading up to the second shutdown. We are continuing to reinvent ourselves, like many businesses. But overall, we feel that our most important role right now is to advocate for businesses, their needs at this time, and provide as many resources as possible to them.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. I guess we've all had the opportunity now since it's been around for several months now, and I understand that you represent like the business industry, the business model. Has the chamber put together a playbook because this because it has caught everybody really hard and off guard that I would think you'd put like a playbook together in case down the road we're looking, when is the state going to open up? Should something again happen, that you've got something, at least a platform to start from, right? So
Right.
has the chamber put together a playbook, more or less?
Well, thank you for asking that. We immediately launched a COVID-19 resource website, and on that website it listed the guidelines, reopening guidelines as to what kind of health and safety protocol need to be implemented for the different industries by working with other business organizations. So, for example, in the area of restaurant, retail, offices, and making sure they had the proper guidelines. So, we immediately posted that on the website. We also listed a number of resources available, whether it's on the city and county level or the federal level. And we right now try to work for the state to find out how they can support businesses. And there wasn't an actual playbook where we put together and say, hey, follow these different guidelines or different rules, and this is how you manage a COVID crisis, because each business is different. But what we did do is have these webinars where we brought different experts together on different subject matter. So whether it's e-commerce, how to set up an e-commerce site, or how to create this new working environment by preparing your office space for the health and safety standards, or how to manage or pivot your business plan so that you are able to operate, survive during this time, as well as moving forward. So there's not one playbook that will solve every business's issues, but there's a multitude approach, and that's how we took by doing these webinars as well as putting different resources on the website for businesses to access. And that's where we've been advocating for a more comprehensive reopening guidelines to the state. Is okay, what is the plan for reopening, and what are the trigger points as to, okay, this COVID's not going to go away anytime soon. So as we live with this, what are the trigger points and benchmark that will provide some guidance to businesses as well as the broader community that would trigger perhaps maybe another second shutdown or third shutdown? We absolutely hope not. But what are those guidelines so that at least there's something we can follow? And that's what we've been advocating, actively, is to have that plan, to have that comprehensive plan, whether it's reopening tourism, whether it's the public and health safety standards, and whether it's what is the stabilization plan for businesses to be able to manage operating during this time.
But I'm kind of wondering, and this is my last question, and I'll let Mel take over. But I'm kind of wondering because a lot of people have been saying, and it seems pretty evident that it appears not even the state has an idea of how to open. It's that lack of trust already. So, I see a lot of businesses are on standby. They're ready to go, but it's just that the state itself, it almost has this appearance that yeah, we'll get to it when we'll get to it. And in the meantime, a lot of business it's falling at the wayside. Do you feel the same way? That
Yeah, and that's why since March, we've been advocating through the collective efforts of all the neighbor islands, including Kauai Chamber and a number of business organizations, to advocate for a plan, because I know the public health and safety is of the utmost importance, and it was critical that we address that issue and ensure that there's a plan in place to address that. But at the same time, knowing that this will have an economic impact, we're pushing what is the economic plan for recovery or for relief, for that matter. So we've been very vocal, whether it's through sending petitions to the administration or or the counties for that matter, or letters asking and offering them
Hmm.
ideas for relief, but as well as advocating for that plan. So yes, we haven't seen a plan like this from since March, and we still haven't seen one now. But hopefully, it's all about it's all about private partnerships and collaboration. So hopefully, recognizing, um, you know, what COVID has done to our businesses, we can come together and start talking more and finding collective solutions. Because that's going to be critical moving forward, not only in the present moment, but as we create this path forward for Hawaii and to create a stronger and more resilient economy, so that the livelihoods of our communities, the livelihoods of our families can rebuild um, into the future.
Okay, thank you. You gotta unmute, Mel. You gotta unmute.
Thank you. Sorry. Um, your chamber has hosted several webinars with government leaders, with business partners throughout the months, and I think the frustration lies in the state has constantly they don't I don't believe they have a plan. I mean they whatever plan they have is based on dates and not benchmarks. So in other words, they'll set a date that they want to start the reopening, and then businesses will plan for that, and then right before they'll make a change, or in the case of the second shutdown, just a couple of days before they expected all the businesses to shut down. And it's quite difficult for businesses to do that. And we heard this from Tina Yamaki the other night when she was on with retail merchants. um, I think if they would rely on benchmarks versus dates, and they were so set on opening for tourism, they had to extend it a month and then another month. But if they use metrics, or if they use benchmarks such as cases and hospitalizations and so forth, then as as every day goes by, the businesses have an opportunity to gauge whether it's likely or unlikely, as opposed to the surprise, bam, hey, you got to shut down now because we just had a big, huge cluster.
Mhm.
And I think that makes it difficult for businesses to adjust. And you got to prep to open and you got to prep to close.
Exactly.
And is that something you guys are seeing?
Yeah, we couldn't agree more with what you just said. I'm sure Tina mentioned this on your show, but it's not as easy just closing in a couple of days. There's a lot more that goes into it. What happens to the inventory, especially when we're talking about restaurants? I mean, I know this one restaurant that just reopened. They had fresh inventory. They just rehired some of their employees back, and then a few days later, they get notice. Okay, they're gonna have to shut down in a couple of days. That I mean, not only is it financially impactful, but it's also um, mentally and socially impactful, emotionally, right? Because here you have employees coming back, getting ready to rebuild, getting back on their feet, and all of a sudden now they have to be let go again. Same with businesses, preparing their entire restaurant or retail, whatever the business is, only to find out, oh, in a couple of days they have to shut down. So there's a lot more factors in this, essentially closing their doors temporarily and then reopening again. So having those triggers and those benchmarks will make it more, um, I guess, it will make it more manageable for businesses, because, as you know, businesses need certainty. And so without that, it's very hard to operate. And if we had known that, okay, so this benchmark, if we reach close to this many cases, we may have to shut down. And the public will also be cognizant of, while we're reaching this tipping point, we're reaching this other level of color, we need to start being or holding ourselves more accountable and responsible for our actions. So, the benchmarks and guidelines definitely, we prefer that. We believe it's a right route, but setting dates is just it just leads to more confusion. I mean, if you look at, we're seeing with the reopening of tourism, right? It was supposed to open on September 1st. Now I don't think, I it's going to be difficult to open October 1st. I mean, even intra-island travel is still closed, without unless you're quarantined. So we're looking probably November 1st. So again, if we have these benchmarks and trigger points, it just makes it a lot more anticipated, more manageable, and more predictable of what is necessary to be done.
Well,
Yeah, I think predictability is really what the people are yelling for.
mhm.
Charlie?
Yeah, and I wanted to get your take on this because, and it partially deals with your businesses, but for the most part, it's these some of these rules that are being made because it kind of like lends to one, but it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't lend to the other. Okay, and it's almost like saying, well, you can go to the beach as long as you stay in the water, just don't stand on the sand. Those kind of rules, and it almost has this mirroring effect that it affects businesses as well, because you got some of these places that, oh yeah, we allow you, but you can have so much in there, but yet on other businesses you can't sit down and have a dinner in a restaurant. You can only take out. What's your feeling about these kind of rules that they're throwing at everybody? Because I'm sure it snags the chamber as well.
It does, it, these blanket shutdowns of industries, we believe is not the right approach. And we know that most businesses have gone above and beyond to ensure that their work environment has a proper health and safety protocols to ensure that their employees are safe, as well as their clients and customers. It says, if it's not, then word will spread. Social media will spread it, and word of mouth, coconut wireless, obviously. So it behooves the business not to follow that. But again, we know that most businesses do go above and beyond. So it's unfortunate that the one or two businesses that do not follow the proper protocols, their actions have essentially had a consequence on the entire industry. But for the government leaders who have made the decision to shut down an entire industry, we believe it's not fair. The second shutdown, we believe, punishes those, both businesses and individuals, who practice the wear your mask, wash your distance, wash your hands, the
Hmm.
3 Ws, as the Surgeon General had indicated. But yet, for the ones that did not, that has led us to, and government inaction to a certain extent, have led us to where we are. And that's why moving forward, we will definitely need to up our game and ensure that we all work together and that we're all in to get out of this and to manage COVID in a very practical way so that we don't have to have another shutdown. We don't hurt these local and small businesses. We're seeing it almost every day, a
Right.
business shutting down for good. I mean, these are mom and pop stores that we grew up with, whether it's your favorite restaurant, whether it's a retail store that you got your prom dress, or, where you celebrate graduation. And quite frankly, that would be devastating if these locally owned small businesses go away, because that will forever change the landscape of the fabric of our communities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you punishing the businesses that were following the rules is how you said it on your interview on the news, and I think you got a very good point there. And how much this morning I was watching the Senate committee meeting, Senate COVID committee meeting, and they had the doctors, or the Queens, I believe it was Queens and Kaiser, and I was very shocked to find out that they were talking about hospital capacities and their needs, and about testing, and they had brought up some things that they had need, or they were asking for, maybe needing some help from the state. But I was shocked to find out that as they meet every day, the hospital corporation, all of these guys meet every day, and they discuss what's going on. The Department of Health was never involved, or they were never involved with the states, with the discussions with the hospitals until just recently. I mean, within the last week. And I think all of the senators were surprised to hear that. How has it been with the administration, legislature, and the chamber? Have you been allowed the opportunity, or your industry, or all your businesses? Has there been an opportunity for you folks to share what you guys are experiencing? I know we see on TV, but have you had that opportunity to speak to these committees or these decision makers in the administration, to the governor or the lieutenant governor or economic development? Are you folks involved in the decision making when it comes to shutting down businesses?
So I, along with the other neighbor island chamber CEOs, we all serve on the House COVID Task Force. So we do provide input that way, including our partnership with UHERO, where we did a survey of our businesses. So that's an area that we have been involved in. We have sent letters and petitions to the governor. And we did have a few meetings with the governor, I will say, as well as here on Oahu with the mayor. But again, what we need a plan. What is the plan to support businesses? And we've seen, I know just recently the legislature did pass some funding for initiatives to support businesses, whether it's providing PPEs to businesses or manufacturing grants. And I know the governor did sign off on a few of those initiatives. And the city and county of Honolulu actually has some small business grants for our local business community. But again, we need to see, one, a comprehensive plan to support small and local businesses. Two, what is the stabilization plan? When we're in situations like this, where we have a second shutdown, what is the plan to stabilize the economy until we reopen again? And if we do reopen again, what is the plan to help bring businesses back on track, to help them rebuild so that our economy can rebuild? So that is what we haven't seen. But we have been communicating to the extent possible through our advocacy efforts. But again, we've had meetings here and there.
But you not actively in a working group to help put this plan together. Nothing at that level.
Not at that level. The only committee that we are on, as I mentioned earlier, is a House COVID Task Force. As you know, it's a public-private stakeholder group.
Yeah, well, I would agree that, I mean, I think what is needed is really, really a working group where everybody's voices matter and are part of the decision-making process. And I don't see that happening in business. I don't see that happening in the health area either. And I think I'm hoping with this new change that's happening that we're going to start involving the people that are affected in the decision making, which would be you and the other chambers and the other business organizations, because it's vital.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody understands business, and it's got to be a balance. And I don't see that happening. And I think we don't even know how long this phase of COVID is going to last. But like you said, I like what you said. What word did you use? Stabilization plan. I mean, once we flatten this curve at some point, then what is the plan? And how
Yes.
do we make sure that businesses are involved in the decision making if and when another surge comes, you know?
Right. Exactly. So
Well,
again,
I
go
think,
ahead.
I think what happens, just listening to what you said earlier, and I think Mel, you and I have been talking about this from day one, when we hardly had any numbers, we were locked down. Then when we started to have numbers, you want to open up. So the key to the business community is really getting in front of the governor and say, Governor, you need to tell us now what's the flavor of the month? What is that trigger that will say either we open or we shut down? Because, like you said, if you say 200 and you see the numbers are climbing, everybody mentally can follow
Ex-
along. Says, okay, gang, let's
Yeah.
get ready because definitely going to shut down.
Yeah.
So, like, we were open, well, just up until last week, when you had numbers already in the approach 3 digits, and it kept on going. They were letting it go. So I believe a lot of people are having this misconception that, hey, They're letting it go. Maybe they're taking a different approach. Then all of a sudden, it hit that pinnacle point where it was 300. Bam! So is 300 the trigger? But nobody has said
Right.
anything, and that's what's making it
Yeah.
very, very hard to, in the business, I guess, in a business sense, on how do you play this thing out?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely right. Again, it's all about certainty and benchmarks, and like what you said, if the public is aware that if we reach this level, this is what's going to happen, and
Mhm.
we'll all do our part, right, to try, because we want to make sure that we don't want another shutdown.
Right,
I mean, we're here stuck at home on Oahu,
right.
can't do anything, and in the meantime, our economy is on halt. So yeah, I certainly agree with you, and that's what we need. And I know that's what's been advocated for quite a while, sometime. But hopefully, with the recent changes that have been made, we will get back on track and hopefully do it the right way this time.
Mm.
Yeah, I think because it's business is one big, huge component of our state, and people are struggling, people are having a rough time. But even school, I mean, our school kids and parents, they don't know what's going to happen the next week or the next month. For a long time, no one knew. There was again, I don't get it. If we had used, remember when we first started the benchmark, when we first started the COVID, the discussion on benchmarks, it was okay. Before we open schools, we have to go two full. No, it was actually we had to go one whole month. We had two cycles of the virus without a new positive case. That was when it first started because everyone thought this was going to come and go. And then as the numbers started to hang around, and then they started now what? We got to get our kids back in school, and that was the priority, right? The priority was getting kids back in the classrooms, like the tourism, right? Everybody, the focus was on opening up tourism. Do whatever we got to do to open up tourism, and they weren't focusing on the benchmarks that we needed to achieve to get there. No, it was we set the date and we'll work backwards, and that is
Yeah.
a dangerous thing to do, and that's what we did. And this is where
Mhm.
we're at now. Now we're
Exactly.
screwed, right? Because to go 2 weeks, I mean, 2 cycles, 28 days of no positive cases. Holy, that's not going to happen for a long, long, long time. And the governor wants to open
Hmm.
states tourism. How do you even talk about opening tourism when we cannot even open up downtown Honolulu?
I know, and that's the thing, right? It's the things we should be talking about these different plans simultaneously. It's not after we complete this plan, let's start on this plan. It should be been done from March, knowing what the impact will be, and just start working on these different plans. But right now, we still haven't seen a reopening comprehensive plan on tourism. So that's where the challenge is. But again, it shouldn't be okay. We finished this plan, check it off. Now let's work on the other plan. It should be simultaneous, and that's why it's critical to involve the private sector in the
Mhm.
discussions, especially for businesses. Get them engaged and find out what are the needs. For example, reopening guidelines. What do we need to do? I mean, I know each industry has their own industry guidelines, but there's some confusion because is it the state guidelines that follow rule, or is it the county guidelines? So clearly, the communication was not all there, and that's when initially, when we reopened tourism, there was a mass confusion as to which guidelines do we follow. I think we're in a place now; everybody knows what they have to do in terms of the different industries, but that's where we need to all government needs to improve in terms of effective communication and having these plans for these different areas, such as education, such as reopening tourism, and such as stabilization for businesses.
I looked at small businesses again, okay, like the businesses that's part of the chamber. I've always felt that that's the really the pillar, like the mom and pop ops. Those are like the pillars of the community because they weathered
Yeah.
the storm. They started from decades, passed on
Hmm.
generation after generation, and then you have everything else after that coming and kind of following suit on that. What's so difficult to understand is that I mean I've seen with my own eyes after the first shutdown Everybody was so enthused of reopening. They went through some safety protocols that went over and beyond. I mean, a lot of these businesses were just super safe.
Mhm.
And when the shutdown came again, it's almost as if it wasn't enough. And it's really disheartening because I mean I know for a fact I've seen some of the businesses on Oahu, the measures they took. I mean, they spent some good amount of money. They rolled the dice and said, we're gonna spend the money and we're gonna put up all these safety barriers to make sure that we are as safe as possible.
Mhm.
And it's never been done like that before.
Yeah.
And even that it wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, we aim for 100% foolproof, right? But the reality is, there will be some cases, no matter what we do. But the focus should be how do we mitigate uh, cases,
Exactly.
right? We're not foolproof, unfortunately, until we get a vaccine. But until then, COVID will be with us for at least a few years, I think,
Hmm.
until we can get back to where we were before. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Zippies, for example, they are the gold standard of implementing the health and safety protocol. But there's so many other businesses doing the same thing. But even then, again, because of the few businesses that have not followed health and safety protocol, as well as you know individually when those who did not follow the proper protocol, um, it certainly has an impact, and that's why hopefully moving we all recognize what kind of impact it has when we do not follow the health and safety protocol, that it will lead us to this situation. So moving forward, I hope we can all work together to ensuring that we can protect not only the economy, but the livelihood of our people, our families, our friends. Because if this as this goes on, we don't want it to the health aspects to even get larger, whether it's mental health, whether it's other social impacts, because it's not only COVID centric. The COVID has a much broader impact than just the physical aspects of having COVID.
It just makes sense. And I know you have, Sherry, Charlie, we all have sat on task forces in our lives, in our different careers. And, for me, it would have just made a lot of sense when you set up your task force for your stabilization or whatever you want to call it, that you would include members of the medical community, business community, all the different areas of the government, the legislative, administrative, have everybody in that discussion because Sherry, you represent a lot of businesses, and the biggest problem that we're seeing is the communication problem. And then most people get their information off of social media, which is not always very accurate. But if there was this task force that had all members, so the business community can be talking on the same table with the governor and or his representatives and people from the medical community, so we can understand each other, so
Yes.
everyone can understand where each piece of the puzzle fits, rather than trying to open the economy just with medical discussions, or opening up business and not worried about the medical side.
Yeah.
Why not have that task force that everybody's there, so everybody can share and everybody can contribute, and that's how you get your plan at the end of the day. You cannot do this thing piecemeal.
Yeah.
Not when this virus is the fingers is in every single different industry
Exactly.
in the state.
Yep.
And that's what I haven't seen, and I'm not sure why. I've listened to a lot of briefings that were medical, business. I mean, Angela Keen, who's a guest on our show, has come on a couple of times. She gets a lot of time at the legislature talking about quarantine busters or
Hmm.
breakers.
Yeah.
Where is the joint effort? I think that's the question. Where
Hmm.
where is that, and who spearheads that? I mean, it's got to come out of the state because they are the state, And I'm just not seeing that. And I
Yeah,
think that needs to be done like ASAP. Should have been done a while ago, but it's never too late to start.
exactly. And like you said, it has to be a joint effort, and we need to put everything aside and just work together, start working together because uh, if not, then we're going to be in a much worse situation if we don't do something now and immediately. And we cannot afford that. We cannot afford that for our economy. We cannot afford that for our state. We cannot afford that for our families. And so we really need to start buckling down and focusing on getting things done. For example, when we do reopen, what is the new plan? What have we learned from after the first shutdown, reopening the economy? And then what can we learn from that and now create the second plan of reopening the economy again? And we haven't seen that. And so it's going to be critical, as you mentioned, this joint effort and having a true public-private collective effort in working together and finding solutions and coming up with a plan. But it needs to be led by government. I agree with you.
And the first step in all of this is we gotta get a handle of this virus. So
Mhm.
we need to get a handle of this virus. And Kauai, we're blessed. We've just been blessed. We got great leadership here. Honolulu, you guys are hot. Big Island is it scares me. I'm telling you, the Big Island scares me. And we got to get a handle of that first. And then once we get a handle of that, people's got to understand too. I mean, all of us individuals got to understand that we gotta sacrifice. Even when we get a handle of this virus, we got to be able to allow business to open, but we cannot be gathering and having huge gatherings at the parks and the beaches until we're satisfied that the virus has left. But
Yeah.
we cannot fool ourselves and say, hey, once we see a little reprieve from the virus, boom, let's open up again because we'll be right back here again. And I'm going to ask you a loaded question. How much longer can businesses survive? I
Uh,
mean, that's a hard question to answer, but I know as we see, many of them cannot survive and they're done. But how much longer can our state, the business in our state, continue like this?
we've done a number of surveys already, and a couple of them are UHERO, which we partner with other chambers as well. And the numbers are very dismal. The top three takeaways are one of the questions was, if the tourism date gets moved back to October 1st, what will you do? 60% said they cannot reopen until tourism reopens. As a result, 1 in 6 businesses said that they cannot survive COVID. And then also 75% said they were forced to make reductions in positions as well as other expenses. So without any more PPP funding, without any more government support or relief, really, I mean, this month and next month will be defining moments. We're seeing a lot of the restaurants and retail closing. We have to remember that they also source a lot of their products from other local companies, whether it's the farmers, whether it's a design shop. So you can imagine if they shut down, then we're going to see a second wave in different types of business shut down, all who are part of the supply chain. And that is when we will definitely see unemployment numbers go way up, more types of businesses shutting down. So you can imagine the urgency, right, to ensure we do this right the second time around. And I can certainly understand, the first couple of months, March through May, we were cooped up in our homes. There's a built-up tension, frustration, and people were ready to go out. But I think if we had an early on education plan or informational campaign, say, hey, yes, we're going to reopen, but it's very critical that we continue to practice the 3 Ws, because you know what, if we don't, then our economy is going to be impacted, as well as livelihood of our families. So making that connection that simply wearing a mask can save a business, I mean, there is a connection to there. And I think we could have done much better with our communication informational campaign, but hopefully now we've learned that yes, the data is there, the science is there, that we need to wear our masks, practice physical distancing, even when we do reopen tourism, and make sure that we do our part so that we can save our economy, we can save jobs, and we can save our families.
I wanted to ask this loaded question, and I want to be as ginger as possible when I ask you this question. But given businesses, okay, just given the broad topic of businesses and relying on tourism, we know that at the heyday of our economy,
Mhm.
they say we're averaging about 30, between 30, a little over 30,000 visitors a day. Okay. That made sure that took care of everything in this state. At this given moment, what do you think? Has numbers ever been generated to see where we would be at? Because I think what we're talking about is getting things started. We would have to have an almost immediate jump start of 30 plus thousand visitors a day. That's the only way I think it can be done. Now, is there a second plan that would say, okay, if we don't hit that mark, we probably can get by with 10,000 visitors a day? Or has anything been done from the chamber to get those kind of tangible numbers that can be worked out to see where we would be at? Because this goes kind of hand in hand about when we first went down the first time, we were given the reprieve to look at tourism and see how we can have tourism rework to be responsible with tourism, not just let it go wild.
Mhm.
And the thing is, it almost sounds like in many of the discussions that Mel and I have had, it sounds like we need a big influx one time to just saturate so everybody can jump. So I'm just trying to find out if numbers have been worked out with your organization.
Not specific numbers as to what, obviously, we're not going to get 10,000 visitors overnight once we reopen tourism. It will be a slow growth because we still haven't, the confidence in traveling still hasn't reached the level where people are comfortable in coming, right? Even though it's Hawaii, people want to come. So, as we slowly reopen tourism, yes, we will gain more tourism, more revenue. But that's why it's critical to think of other ways to generate revenue. And I know we talked about Kamaiana economy, but what are some creative initiatives or ideas that we can get introduced to have this mass and fast cash infusion into our economy? And we've been having discussions about that. But I think, if your viewership have other ideas, please share that with us. Because it's not going to be one solution in terms of reopening tourism and then have the 10,000 right back the next day. It's not going to happen. So take a multitude of solutions to try our best to increase the tax revenue as we go forward. We talk about diversifying our economy, and I know we've been talking about that for a while. I think more now than ever, there will be some fruitful discussions and creating a economic diversification plan in a much more comprehensive and collaborative way. But that's not going to raise revenue right away too. So again, tourism will bring in dollars, but we'll also need to find other creative ways to bring in those dollars.
Okay. Well, we just had someone that one of our senators that reported that it'll probably take about 370 million a month to get us back to where we were, or something
Yeah,
to that effect.
and I just wanted to add to that, we have CARES funding, right? So that's another way we need to make sure every dollar goes out into our economy in different ways. And we have until December. So I know there's the House COVID Task Force has an oversight committee of CARES funding. I know there's Data Collaborative that's keeping track of all the CARES expenses. So that's one way of putting cash back into the economy. And that's where we need to hold a government accountable to make sure every dollar is spent as a short-term solution, as a short-term approach.
Okay.
It's going to be years before we see the tourism back. I mean, I think that the experts have made that pretty clear. It's going to be a while, and I think I'm not sure if you, Harold, did a study of what is that number? How many tourists They probably have. They've done a study in
They
every single metric you can think of. But at what point at 10,000 a day, what percentage of jobs get reinstated at 20,000 a day, and so forth? I mean, that'd be an interesting study to read.
Yeah, I
But
believe they
until
do
then,
do a study. I believe they do have
yeah,
numbers.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah,
Those guys are good.
yeah,
I'll go look it up afterwards. But it's gonna take something. It's gonna take an influx of money. I know the governor has talked about the CARES money, but we're gonna have to provide some type of relief to the businesses so they don't go under. And I know somebody early on in the comments, someone talked about a Kamaina card where everybody gets $250. I think she talked about $250. I can go find that. She wanted your opinion on that. It was
actually,
kind of early on.
yeah,
And that so
coinc-
we would be forced to use that card only in local businesses, though.
yeah.
Is that something you guys have been talking about?
Yes, we have actually. What a coincidence. We term it the Aloha Bucks program, but the idea is to, um, provide. We don't know who the recipients will be, but essentially given, let's, for lack of a better term, a gift card on a monthly basis until December, and let's say a couple of $100 a month, and it's a use it or lose it, but it must be spent at a local business or maybe more narrowly at a restaurant. And then, we have some numbers that the multiplier effect is there. The state will raise some taxes, but so we did have we have been floating that idea around, but we did meet with a couple of government reps today about it, and so hopefully we can make it come into fruition. But it's not just the one all solution, but at least it's one. Um, is an idea that we can put in place, and then it will raise revenue. But again, this will not be the only solution, but it's one of many solutions that we can implement to help our businesses during this challenging time, as well as help those that can use this gift card and spend it into the economy.
Yeah, it was Kara talking about the Kamaina dollars. That's pretty cool. $250 every
Yep.
week on a debit card, and you must spend it at local business.
Yeah.
That's a really brilliant idea. But that's the kinds of things that needs to be discussed and tossed around everybody on that table so we can get some action. It's been what, 6 months now, 7 months?
Gosh, March, right? Yeah,
I
almost
don't even
six
know. I
months.
lost count. I stopped counting. But we need to start moving, and we need to start, like you said, working together and sharing the ideas and getting some stuff done. Because I think for most of us, we're tired of hearing the talk already. We're tired of hearing all the talk, and we all have friends and family that are out of work and not knowing what they're gonna do next month and the month after.
Yeah.
So I mean, we gotta start looking at some innovative ways. I like that Kamaina cash thing. What did you call it?
Yeah.
Aloha Bucks?
Aloha Bucks program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
If I can
It,
make a plug about, I know we're talking about job losses, and while there's certain industries that are completely being impacted, there are other industries that are doing okay. In fact, they're actually hiring. And so that's why we launched this hawaiiishiring.com website. And it's a public-private partnership with Workforce Development Council, the Hawaii Executive Collaborative, the University of Hawaii Community Colleges, as well as American Savings Bank. And what it is a one-stop center where it pulls all the different existing resources for job seekers to find what jobs are available. And I know as of last week, there are more than 20,000 jobs posted in different industries and different types of positions too. So if someone was working in the hospitality industry, some of their skill sets could probably be transferable to a different industry. And there's resources and tools on the website to see if that could be done. And if not, there's opportunities where you can train to upskill or train for different resources. So it is for those job seekers who are unemployed or recent graduates of high school or colleges, as well as those who want to pivot careers. And you can search by neighbor islands as well.
What was the website?
HawaiiIsHiring.com.
Perfect. That's good to know.
Yeah, so more than 20,000 positions posted.
Wow. And I'm assuming it's being pretty successful. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. That's kind of looks funny. Hawaii
I know,
is
right with the three eyes. Yeah, Hawaii
Hawaii
is hiring.
is hiring. Hawaii is hiring. That is correct, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, take it down, people. HawaiiIsHiring.com. We we
And
got viewers all over the state, so if you guys just go check it out.
yep.
Those are the kinds of things, again, information that is very valuable and important to our people to get them back to work.
Yeah.
Jeez,
And
get them back
another
to
one
work.
is we just launched the small business hotline. So I know there's many small business out there that probably have questions about either grants or guidelines or what they need to do now. We may not have all the solutions, but at the very least, we can connect them to the right agency or to the right resource, and that number is 808 COCH now. I
Hey,
don't know
Mel,
the number. I gotta look it up, but it's COCH now.
Mel,
Yeah.
COCH now.
Yeah,
Mel,
and
Mel.
actually,
You know why? You know why I'm laughing right now? Because
Why?
you're not asking me to read that. Remember when I had Brickwood Galataria on?
Oh no, please no. Try it. Don't go there.
and
COCH
actually,
now.
yeah, and the person who is gonna lead that and who will be the contact person is your very own Dan Kochi.
Oh,
Oh really?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we pivoted his role to be the small business support administrator. So he is the right person to contact if he's watching this. I'm sure he's now going to
He,
prepare
he
for
usually
a
he
number of
usually
phone
is
calls.
on. I'm not sure. I don't know if he's on tonight though. So
But just
what next, Sherry? What's next? What are you as a chamber boss and the other chambers? What's next?
what's next is no one knows, right? Again, no one has a playbook, but at least we can work together to create one. One of my favorite quotes from is the best way to predict your future is to create your future. And that's what we need to do together. And that includes government, public, as well as private stakeholders coming together and just being creative, finding innovative solutions and working together. That's the only way we can get out of this. And that's going to be critical to our recovery efforts. And to your viewers, we would love to hear your ideas to what what solutions, what are some of the creative solutions to help with this economic recovery efforts. So feel free to reach out to one of our team members or to Dan, and we can go from there. But just encourage everyone who's watching, um, please to avoid another shutdown, which we truly cannot afford. Is to let's all practice this health and safety protocol. I know we've been hearing it to nauseum, but quite frankly, it's important so that we can all manage the COVID situation, because COVID's not going to go anytime soon.
Well, that number is 808 262 4669,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
Yeah, somebody, Katie Arita Chang.
Oh, yes, from our
Yeah,
team.
she just put it up. So the small business hotline is 808 COCH now, or 808 262 4669, folks. And it's up on the screen in the thread right now.
Thank you.
So go ahead and write that down. And if you guys want to get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii, where Sherry is the boss, it's www. There we go again. COCH. That's what COCH is. I got
COC
it.
Hawaii, yeah.
Okay. So
Chamber of
COC
Commerce Hawaii.org.
Yeah, Kakawai. Kachawai. It's like an Indian tribe.
And you know
Check
what?
out the site though. It's very informative, and you can reach out and get help if you guys need it. www.cochawaii.org, and we'll check it out.
And Mel, I hope one day that we can go back to DC and have our Hawaii on the hill, right?
You know, I was going through my photos that is such a powerful event. That is such a powerful, important event for Hawaii businesses, especially Kauai businesses. They were
Oh yeah,
well represented. You guys did a heck of a job, and we had a good time. And yeah, I'd love to go back. I hope we can go back one day.
I hope so. I hope sooner
We'll
than
take,
later.
we'll take Charlie with us. We'll take Charlie because
Oh
he,
boy.
he's fun too,
Yeah.
Oh
and
boy.
he can sing. He can sing like Bernard.
Hmm.
Mayor Bernard.
Yeah,
What a
I'm Mayor Bernard's stunt double, so
Oh,
I usually stand in for him when he's late for his appearance, and then he'll take over.
I'll
you
never
know,
forget that. But he went grab me up there. He went grab me on that stage, and
I remember.
oh my God, what the hell was that song?
boy
No,
for
it
long
was
boy.
Hookie Lao. Hookie
Oh
Lao.
yeah, that's right. That's
We're
right.
gonna do the Hookie Lao, and had all these people you see on CNN was there. All these congressional, all these
Oh
people, and
yeah.
he took over the show, and we had a
Yep.
good time. But
Was.
when Bernard asks, invite somebody to come on a stage, he doesn't say, hey, brother. No, he pointed at me, he goes, you
Grabs you.
get up here. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that Portuguese was all scared. We had a good time. We had a good time.
Exactly.
And
Definitely
hopefully
good
we get to do
memories.
that again soon.
Yeah.
Any closing comments, Sherry? I heard your health and safety. Wear your mask. Do all that stuff.
I
Support local
know.
businesses.
I just want to thank you to both of you as well for the opportunity to be on the show. It's very popular, so yeah. Initially, I was nervous because it's a live show and widely viewed. But thank you for offering this because the more venues we have to express and galvanize the support for our local and small business community, the more helpful it is. So thank you for really having these conversations on current but very important issues. Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Charlie?
Well, I'm pretty sure Manuhea Lee might be a member of the chamber. I am not sure, but I am wearing one of their shirts tonight. It was flown in since we can't go there because if I come back in quarantine, stuck, right? So anyway, this is a Manuhea Lee shirt right here for those of you that are asking. First of all, I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to you, Sherry, for coming on tonight, and I'm glad you got right into it uh, and felt comfortable. And just by reading the thread, I can tell a lot of the people were getting engaged and really really asking some really important stuff. So which is good. To our viewers out there, again, our whole focus is to inform and educate. So when we bring on people, it might be one night we talking about O Triple C, the next night we're talking about the chamber. The next night we might when we have the lieutenant governor, and then we'll talk about someone who has COVID. But it's all about educating you folks because tonight was very important for me to understand one thing, and that is businesses is our pillar in our community. But I think what's destroying it right now is really the behavior, our behavior. If we cannot bring our behavior into check, this virus ain't gonna go away. I mean, we just run the risk of spreading it. So I think if we can bring our behavior into check and just know that hey, there's certain things, and I made mention to this before, Mel, that for some reason when you have an opportunity to go to a restaurant now, hardly anybody like go right because one, you cannot gather. So what that means is people like go restaurants to be seen. They like put on the best spirit and it just like be seen. So the thing is, right now that cannot happen, folks. We gotta play by the rules. But I hope one day that through your organization, Sherry, that somebody can talk some sense into the state and try to find what are the trigger points, so we all can be on the same page. We all can be prepared. If we do our part, we should stay away from the red zone, right? But if it starts to get into that danger zone, at least everybody will have warning that hey, something's coming up.
Mhm.
So I'd just like to thank you again. Thank you to your viewers out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Mel, turn over to you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you very much for educating and informing our people. They are very. Go check the Facebook later. Governor will be on. He comes on at 8:15 sharp every night after we go off the air. He come on and he watch them.
Okay.
All these people watch them. All of the legislators watch them. Bruce Anderson And Espino, you should watch them. I don't think you're watching them tonight, but listen. If we don't be disciplined, people, if we as individuals cannot go out and wear a mask, if we cannot go out and social distance, we cannot go out and be safe and practice the rules that are there, then don't expect businesses to open. Don't, and listen, Kauai is not immune. We're one positive case away from being shut down. It's always the case. Big Island was doing well, Maui, everybody has cases. So just wear your mask and be healthy and be safe. And that's
Yep.
it. Let's support local business. Everybody start, my wife now, she goes and she buys, we eat local stuff now. We're trying stuff that, God, what we had the other night, that stuff that I said, well,
Was the top of the
whatever it was. It was, I think, the
the
top of the
beets?
beets from a local garden. So she cooked that, but the stock of that is terrible. I had to throw that away. Just but if not for COVID, we wouldn't be doing that. But we're trying to support the local small businesses, buying the bentos from the local place. We got to do that, people. But more importantly, we got to wear that mask. Okay.
And
Thanks.
and
Go
and
ahead.
just remember, folks, pineapples grow on the ground. If you pick them from the tree, that's on Lauhala. Okay, so just know the difference.
There you go. Sheriff, if you ever need entertainment on a while, call Uncle Charlie. He take care.
I know. Put him on my list
Well, he gonna
already.
start laughing. See, when he starts laughing, he cannot stop. And then everybody laughs. But he's there. He's not gonna stop now.
It's
And then he
contagious.
gets me laughing. And then we all start laughing. But you know what? It's healthy. It's healthy. Anyway, Terry, thanks. Again, tell your husband I said hi. We'll hook up again one day very shortly.
Sounds good.
Tomorrow night we get Lieutenant Governor Josh Green, and again, he's not in a good mood, so it'll be a fun show. Wednesday, Les Condo, State Auditor, will be on to talk about his attempts to audit contact tracing and the DOE. And Friday we have some more corrections officers, huh? And then on Saturday we have one of our Kauai's own, our first COVID patient that went through a rough time. So anyway, Charlie, he's still laughing. So until then, tomorrow night.
Just remember, gang, the pineapple in the tree is on Lauhala. Just remember.
Charlie, go sleep. We'll see you tomorrow. Hello, everybody.